archaeology. Get out of there, Dan.
Okay.
Neat.
We're shared there. Well done.
Cool.
Run it.
All right. And, oh, good. I wish we could hear it.
Oh shit, that's loud.
Oh, sorry. Interesting.
I should my volume all the way up.
Oh.
Don't forget to unmute us here a second.
Darn.
You can probably do it now. We'll just be quiet.
So many
Unmute
technical
our
issues.
mics.
Oh, it's totally unmuted.
Doesn't look like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Darn it. Those hotkeys are not working. All right, there.
All right, welcome to episode 12 of You Call This a Travesty? I mean Archaeology. So we're constantly having issues with Facebook or something. So, and I'm going to take this off now that I hear us. Anyway, so we had technical issues. So we're trying to start at 3 p.m. every day, but Facebook Live was not working.
Yeah, and
So-
we were here early.
We were ready literally 15 minutes ago, and we've spent the last 10 minutes trying to get Facebook Live to connect. So, anyway, in keeping with the new style of starting all the shows on the APN, I just want to say thank you for joining us, to the audio audience, to the Facebook Live audience, to the
Oh, YouTube Live. Not YouTube, but the YouTube audience.
not YouTube Live yet. We get more
Yeah.
cameras in here. We might do that.
And more computers.
We'll suck up all the bandwidth in this building. But You Call This Archaeology is a show where Richie Cruz and I talk about our weeks and what we did for the last week, because archaeology is not all whips, Nazis, and guns. And sometimes what we think is involved in archaeology, other people might say, but you didn't dig, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Yeah, it's still archaeology.
Oh my God, are people confuse me for a geologist?
Or paleontology. I got confused for paleontologist again. I was looking at a sponsor for a thing I'll talk about here in a minute.
Oh, neat.
And it's a beer company here, actually at the Reno Collective where we broadcast from.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they have their offices here, and they're like a Reno local brewery, right? And he's like, oh, why do you want us? You should get Icky, like Icky from Great Basin Brewery here. And I'm like, why? Why should we get Icky again? Because it's named after Ichthyosaurus.
Yeah.
Because there's Ichthyosaurus State Park is here in Nevada, like the central part of the state. And I'm like, that has literally nothing to do with archaeology. So, anyway, so we're here, and we're going to talk about some things throughout the week that we've done, like I said, and go from there. So, Richie, you want to kick this off? Because I got lots of topics to talk about.
Oh my God, speaking of Facebook, it keeps reminding me this week that 6 years ago today, I was on like the toughest project I've ever been on, ever. It was right before you joined the company we used to work for.
Yeah.
And our beloved office manager insisted we couldn't do any slope exclusion.
Nice.
So
you're
were
walking up and down everything.
Yeah, and oh my God, there was one, like, I wish I could show you the photos, but it was it was Roberts Mountain. Like, so when we were heading out to the pancakes and doing stuff,
Yeah.
you'd see it on the left side. And there were days where people were using trees to climb up the slope.
I'm just going to move my coffee mug while you're talking so people can see it.
And
Sorry.
the stupidest part, we found stuff on those slopes.
Yeah.
Like near the top. I'm like, God damn it. Screw you
Well,
too.
you're going to find stuff on slopes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not disputed, but is that stuff on the slopes in context?
No, of course not.
That's the question.
Well, I mean, God, you can't do interpretation, so you can't necessarily say it wasn't. It was extremely unlikely to have been, but then again, there might have been an animal up there that they shot.
So what are the three? I can think of three reasons off the top of my head without really putting much thought into this, because we did not plan this conversation, why you would find an artifact on a steep slope that we would normally exclude.
Yeah.
The three reasons I can think of are, it washed down from the top, so it's out of context. Somebody had to get there.
Yeah.
So they could have dropped it. They could have, stopped. They could have died for all we know. Anything on the way to the slope, on the way to the top where they were possibly headed, because people don't typically hang out on the sides of mountains.
No.
Although we've been known to do that, because I've taken, when we worked at Mount Irish, I remember, my God, climbing up some of these hills. I mean, sometimes I would just stop and like sit, turn around, take in my surroundings, and take a breather for a minute. I'm probably 100% more out of shape than your average Native American was. And maybe they didn't have to stop and take a break. But if it were me, I'd be stopping to take a freaking break. So, and then the third reason is, like you said, they could have shot an animal.
Yeah.
They could have shot a bighorn sheep. They could have shot anything that was sitting up there. And then either they missed or, they hit the animal.
And it ran off.
They got it and it ran off, or, any number of reasons.
Yeah.
So, but I guess the big question is, in cultural resource management, one of the big reasons we exclude slope is not only for safety, but also for the fact that we're actually out there to find the sites that are significant. And your typical single artifact site, while we, well, not site, but isolate, while we record that, it's not significant. No. So we don't need to we're not going to see a village settlement on the side of a 40-degree slope.
And we're playing to percentages,
yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
I mean, God, the sort of stuff you find up there, it's like not worth it percentage-wise versus like manpower and budget. Right. Which is something you don't think about when you're in class.
No, you don't really think about that. So
just like so many things, like why a union would never work in this business, ever.
And we're going to talk. You want to talk about that now? Before I forget, we've got a handful of listeners, watchers right now. If you're on the live stream. Feel free to leave us a comment down here on anything that we're talking about. Ask us a question. We'll derail our entire conversation to address your comment.
True.
Because that's what we're here for. So if you want to ask about anything or talk about anything or have us do anything, if you want Richie to get up on this table and do a little dance, I'm sure he'll do that for you. So just let us know. So anyway, let's bring up unions because that's kind of the elephant in the room. There was another conversation started on the North American Archaeological Tech Forum Facebook group. If you're not part of that,
you should be.
And you're a North American Archaeological Field Tech, I mean, I'm one of the admins on that group, and I rejected like 5 submissions this morning to that closed group.
Oh,
because
really?
quite frankly, if you don't have something listed in your profile that shows that you're an archaeologist, I will decline you.
Oh.
If you're not proudly declaring either the company you work for or the fact that you are an archaeologist, or if you've got your Facebook page so locked down tight that I can't see a damn thing, you can't get into a closed group.
Or send you a message.
Yeah, if you get rejected and you are actually a field archaeologist, then try to PM one of us. Try to send a message to the group and say, hey, I'm an archaeologist. For the Archeo Field Techs group, and I just haven't done this for North American because there's more admins, so I don't want to talk to them first. But Facebook added a thing where you could ask a list of questions to people before they come in the group. Neat. And on the Archaeo Field Techs one, just to get people thinking about it, because some people see the suggested groups and they're just like click, 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 and they just join everything. Yeah. And that's what I figure sometimes, because you get some weird people from some country, over in the Middle East wanting to join the Archaeo Field Techs group, and I'm like, no, sorry, but you don't have any bearing on what happens here in archaeology. So anyway, I added these questions, and it was basically, are you an archaeologist? Do you work in the United States? That's not really a deal breaker, but do you work in the United States? And there's a couple other questions. And if people either decide not to answer those questions or they answer them with answers that don't make any sense for the group, then I reject it. So, it's not that we don't want to talk to different people. We just want people in there that can contribute to the conversation that we're trying to have. It's not a social group. It's a community group for field archaeologists. Yeah.
All right, so you're not trying to make America great again.
I mean, we are, but he destroyed that phrase. So. And I'll say this publicly right now. I've scheduled my White House tour for my Washington, D.C. trip at the end of November, and it might be the last time you ever see me. Because I can't be held responsible for anything I may or may not do.
What?
I know.
You're not going to see if his hair is real?
Wow. No, I'm really not. I don't know what's going to happen. But the funny thing is, you have to schedule. They suggest you schedule at least 3 months out, but you have to schedule at least 21 days out. And I didn't really think about that. And you won't know if you actually got on a tour for either the White House or the Capitol building. I signed up for both, for my wife and I. You won't know if you actually got it until 2 weeks out.
That's crazy.
They'll send you a message saying you got in. Well, they don't want people just like, your president or whoever it may be goes on TV and says something stupid. You can't just schedule a White House tour that afternoon and then go and then just like walk in and say, what the hell are you doing? You need some cool down time.
But you know what's crazy about that? When I was a kid, my sister She didn't finish her degree, but she was getting a master's degree from Georgetown.
Yeah.
And so I went to visit her when I was a kid, and we went to see the Capitol. And there was no security. We just walked in and walked around and looked in the offices. Like, there was no one there. It was at night. It was like the evening.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were just poking around and
That's
looking
a little
around
crazy.
and taking photos and stuff, and taking photos of statues. And it's like, man, screw you, September 11th. And that is coming up. Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know. That's it's next week. So. Otherwise known as Apple Keynote Eve.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, because September 12th is the iPhone 8 event.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't there like an iPhone 8X they're also rumored to be talking about?
I haven't heard recent rumors about that, and the rumors usually tend to clarify the closer you get to an event.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's going to be an iPhone 8. Well, they might call it the iPhone X because it's the 10th year of the iPhone.
Ooh.
So there's rumors that they could call it iPhone X.
Yeah.
But it's technically the iPhone 8 by numbers. Yeah. So, and they're rumored to come out with the new 7 Plus and 7S. 7 Plus S and 7S as well. Whatever the hell. I've lost all of it. Brian Woods has joined us. He was our guest last week, and he says...
Hello?
He says, he says 45. I'm sorry, I'm assuming that comment is related to Mr. 45. I won't say his name.
Wow.
He'll be busy threatening kids, so you won't see him. But he somehow changes DAC illegals and bringing hurricanes with him. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Oh, you're getting a call.
I'm getting a phone call currently on my iPhone.
Interesting. That's crazy. I didn't know you could do that on this machine.
I'm surprised all these didn't ring. Because if they're
really?
connected to my account, I can answer them on any one of these devices.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
Wait, you could even hear it, and it has a microphone, too?
Yeah. It's just,
Not that they can see it over there, but
no,
I
it
can see it
uses
over
FaceTime
here.
audio, so...
Interesting.
That one I actually signed out of, so I wouldn't do it on that
good.
one. But all the other things it would.
Yeah, but you said you were signing out all sorts of things on here. It's still giving me all sorts of notifications.
I know I signed out of iCloud, though. Maybe not. Anyway, unions. So we were starting to talk about unions, and Brian, you should be here, damn it. He says, Hugo and Irene are okay, but build a wall for Jose. That's probably true. Anyway, unions. So there's a conversation going on the North American Archaeological Tech Forum about unions again. But this time it actually was started civilly. It wasn't somebody angry ranting saying, damn it, you people, we need a union. It was somebody saying, hey, if we're going to think about starting a union, what kind of things do we want? How much would you pay for dues? And it's actually a productive conversation for once.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. And I put down, listen, we're like the last industry to start a union, not the first one.
Yeah.
So we don't need to brainstorm and say, that shouldn't be our first step. Our first step shouldn't be, what should we want out of a union? We know what we want out of a union.
Yeah.
We want rights secured. We want a voice. We want, some sort of regularity as much as we can. We want all those things, like every union wants. That's not, that's not unlikely. I don't know what type of word I'm looking for. But anyway, what I think we should look at other trade unions.
Yeah.
And find out which ones are doing similar things that we want to do, and we pull pieces from those and we figure out how to do it.
Oh my God. Well, it just occurred to me because I started out in Southern California doing archaeology, and I worked with several people who had been in the film industry before that. And their industry, I was just thinking about right now, it's the closest to ours, because I remember before we started rolling, I was like, man, a union doesn't work for the format of this job. But then I was thinking, wait, they're independent contractors, and they have a union, and they just go from job to job. Mm-hmm. And the crazy part is that one of the, both of them, they both had union protection the whole time, union scale, and they got a pension. So they were literally just doing this job, archaeology, for fun.
Well, and I don't know a lot about the film industry and their union. I know that they exist, and like the Screen Actors Guild and stuff like that. I know about all those things, but I don't really know the inner workings of them. But I do know one thing, and this is one comment I made on because inevitably this comes up. One of the first comments made on the discussion today was, well, unions are great and all, but that'll just screw everybody that joins the union because there's plenty of new field techs that come out of college every year that the companies will just hire and they don't know any better. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true, but unlike like the film industry, if somebody hires,
it's on pause by the way.
If somebody, that's just the video. If somebody hires non-union actors and workers on a film, I mean, they're not looked too favorably on for that.
No.
And they might not even get insurance and funding and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to privately fund a film, you can probably hire whoever the hell you want. But if
Sure.
you're trying to get industry standard qualifications and different things and be respected, you have to hire union.
Yeah.
You know, and we could easily do that in archaeology. I mean, every single one of us knows every company out there. If we pull all our resources together, we know the company owners.
Yeah.
We know they're not these like, aside from say, you know, your big multinational engineering firms that might have somebody who's the environmental department manager in an office in London somewhere.
Yeah.
Aside from those companies, you know, we know these people.
Yeah.
And we have a lot more power than we think we have to just say, no, I'm not going to work for you.
Exactly.
You know, and if enough people do that, and all they're left with is the people that, you know, didn't have the ethical, moral, or maybe even financial stability to say, well, I have to work for you for a little while. Eventually, they are going to be left with the bottom of the barrel because
Yeah.
the cream of the crop will be working for the union.
And you'd be surprised how often, like, there are certain companies you know to avoid. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to go out with this company. And, like, he's a student, and all the people that this company has hired this whole field season are all students.
Mm-hmm.
And all their people I've talked to, like, I actually ran into other people, and we were talking about it. It's like, and everyone just rolls their eyes at this company because it's
Right.
like everyone knows not to work for them, so they can only hire students.
Right, right. Well, and Brian's got a question here. He says, are you as a business owner / employer, which I am, prepared to pay people to do nothing if something changes, but you can't lay people off? I have two responses to that question. One, I talked to a guy when I was first setting up my business. He was with the SCORE counselors, and SCORE is like, it's typically a group of successful business people that have gotten out and they're helping other people set up businesses. They're there as mentors to ask questions.
Yeah.
And he ran like a soil testing company over in like Northern California. And there was basically seasonal work because it was construction related. So over the winter, they wouldn't have a lot of work. And his first few years of doing this, when he's first getting established, getting all his clients and whatever, they would lay everybody off for the winter for probably 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the field season comes back around. I'm thinking, this sounds real familiar, by the way. Field season comes back around, and they would try to rehire the people that they laid off, but chances are they found some other work, and they're taken up somewhere else now. And then they have to hire new people and train new people. Once he got his business running at peak efficiency to where he had everything figured out, everything worked out, he started just paying these people for their time off. Now, sometimes he said maybe once a week they would come in, or once every 2 weeks or something they would come in. They would all do some collective training or something like that. They would do some periodic maintenance. They would do something. They wouldn't just be gone for 3 months with pay. But he said that was more efficient for him than hiring new people and training them all over again come field season. So I would say in archaeology, if we can get more efficient with our practices, we do often employ people just over the winter to do like lab work and things like that. So if we change around our policies to allow us to do things like that, and if we, if we work with our clients to allow us to do things like that, then that's one way that we can actually afford to pay people when the like field work dies down. But then the other thing is, we write that union however we want. Like when a movie's over, everyone's laid off.
True. Yeah.
You know, I mean, so they figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, they might go to another movie, but when that movie's done filming, that's a business. It's a company. You see at the end, you know, it's like X-Men Incorporated. You know, I mean, it's a business, and then when that business is done, and the movie's over, everybody's laid off, and everybody goes and finds other jobs, but they're still unionized.
And more importantly, they don't expect to to be in an office working like a 9 to 5.
Right. But I guess my point is unions. There's lots of different ways to do unions out there. People typically think of like, you know, sheet metal workers and iron workers and stuff like that, where there are very specific regulations and stuff like that.
And you have a regular schedule and a regular workplace.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that in archaeology.
No.
So we would need a union where the focus is not necessarily continuous employment, because you can't guarantee jobs where jobs don't exist. If there's no jobs over the winter, then you can't guarantee that.
About to have a guest.
I know, just about. But my guess is we'll see them in the window back here shortly. Anyway, I guess my point is unions you can set them up however you want.
Yeah.
And it just depends on what your goal and your focus is. If we want to have a voice in business and a voice in industry and a voice in the government, then we need to collectively pool together our opinions and our resources. And that's one of the biggest things we would get out of a union. And then we could work on standardizing pay across the country, standardizing wages. But that's all a long, long road because it's all based on local economies and clients and stuff like that.
And for the movie industry, they just set minimum standards. And for people who are going to be like, well, schools are turning out so many archaeologists, well, you've never been to LA. Or, there's like a bazillion film schools turning out a bazillion I shouldn't say useless students, but a bazillion, rookie students. And it's like, if you're like Steven Spielberg and you're the producer and you're reporting to Steven Spielberg, do you want to go, we're going to save some money by hiring all these former film school students who just graduated like 6 months ago for your new Oscar-winning picture. He's going to go get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Los Angeles for a conference I mentioned just a few weeks ago, I actually did some drone footage for a friend who's producing a movie down in LA. And his director was down there, and the director's new girlfriend was there too, and she was giving me some pointers because he was driving this car. I'm supposed to be filming. It's late at night. It was just the two of us and then him, and she's giving me these pointers on how to operate the drone, and I'm thinking, oh, that's good, thanks. Who are you again? Why should I listen to you? And she's like, oh, I'm an actor and a director. And I'm like, oh, I'm in Los Angeles. Who the hell's not an actor and a director? Turns out she's got an IMDb page. She's actually done quite a few things. She was on like a soap opera for 3 years straight.
Really?
She's done all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Oh, and I bet she was super attractive.
She was not unattractive. But she was also really, really nice. And she actually had some really good insights that I knew nothing about. I knew how to fly a drone and then move it around drone-like and make it look like a drone because that's what I'm used to doing. Yeah. But they wanted the drone to operate like a camera crane. Yeah. And be static, like not static, but like moving continuously as a vehicle came in and out of a shot or something. I didn't know how to do that, but anyway, let's take a break real fast.
Oh, that was so fast.
I know, it's real quick. We'll take a break real quick just to point out, we got the coffee mug up there. Christian LaRosa bought one of the mugs, so that's great. I think he's gotten it already. Yeah. I finally got the t-shirts in, which I mentioned last week, and just this week, I mailed a t-shirt, a coffee mug, and all the stickers for the APN, plus our new thank you cards, which have some info on the back that you can use, to all of our pro subscribers. Ooh. So if you want the swag, it's included in your pro subscription, along with high-quality downloads, and some learning content, which the first bit of that's coming out hopefully this weekend. Yeah. Oh. And it's on Rock Art by Dr. Alan Garfinkel Gold.
Oh, and don't forget to take pictures of your new swag. Are you wearing it? Or are you using it and tagging us?
Absolutely. Tag ArcPodNet on Instagram or Twitter or even post it on the Facebook page. So.
Interesting. Wait, I always wondered because you can hashtag stuff on Facebook, but is it as searchable as it is on Instagram?
Only if the post is public. Well, that's not true. If you search for a hashtag, you'll see your friends' hashtags, but also public ones. So if you want to use hashtags that are searchable by the public on a post, you just have to change the security on that post to be public. Yeah. So, like for example, if you search CRMArc, hashtag CRMArc on Facebook, not a whole lot comes up unless a lot of your friends are hashtagging CRMArc. But publicly, not very much comes up because most people in archaeology have their settings automatically listed down. I actually, because I'm doing more publicly related things on my social media through like the APN, I changed my default privacy setting to public. Really? Which means I really have to watch it if I don't want something to be public. But I figure, what the hell? I've got so much stuff out there. I honestly don't care what people see. I really don't care. I don't post anything on my Facebook page. But anyway, and Brian says we should be louder. Maybe we need to put our microphones closer to the thing here. Yeah, make sure you're turned all the way up there. So.
Yeah, let's go see if we can.
But anyway, while Richie's figuring out the volume, we're constantly looking for improvements here. By the way, we don't have this system nailed down yet. We're trying to figure things out. So if you have any suggestions for us, if you wish we spoke slower or talked about different things or did something, let us know. And also let us know what you're watching or listening on too, so we can help diagnose what the issue is. So Richie's increasing the audio on our thing here.
I don't want to blast people's ears out. So
well, it might have been Brian too. Brian, you might check your audio, because when I listen to I'm listening to on my own headphones, it sounds pretty loud. So
because now it's at 130%.
So I didn't hear what you said because I was listening to you.
Oh, that's 130%, by the way.
Nice. So everybody turn down your headphones if you've just recently turned them up. Anyway, so yeah, unions. I think it's a good thing. I think we should do it. I think everyone should do it. I think everyone should collectively organize. We've all proven this is why corporations are so successful.
Yeah. Because
corporations pool together resources and get things done in a more efficient way, rather than having 100 little departments working independently. I mean, that's why corporations are successful.
Although
that's
some companies are like that.
Some companies are like that, and that's why they're successful.
Oh.
Because they bring, and this is why archaeology is becoming more corporatized as well, because archaeology is really hard to make profitable.
Yeah.
Partly because nobody's a business person. I've talked about this before, and we run at an inefficient level. But because of that, as corporations like engineering firms and stuff, and they need archaeology done, they're more than willing to just bring in an archaeology department, buy an existing company, somebody with an infrastructure, and now they can do that, and they'll probably operate it at a loss just so they can get that phase out of the way, because if it's a $500,000 archaeology project, that's nothing compared to the $2 billion pipeline they're going to install.
Yeah. And
they're going to do all the phases of it. They don't care about the archaeology. They'll run it at a loss just to get it done. They're not even trying to gain market advantage. They're not trying to be the archaeology kings and queens of the Midwest or something. They just want to get that phase done so they can get on to the real money.
Yeah. Although I do think it is interesting that the most profitable companies in each region, they're almost all like archaeology only.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are some companies that are really doing it right.
I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but
we can mention names if we're not slandering people. Far Western.
Yes. Oh, that's the first one that popped in my mind.
That's always the first one that pops into my head. They've got a number of offices around the West.
Yeah.
They do good work. They're always at conferences and presenting and doing public archaeology outreach.
Yeah.
They're stacked with PhDs at the top.
Yeah.
They're probably one of the best examples of a pure archaeology firm that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh my God, you've never even seen like their Davis office, or have you?
I haven't seen any of their offices.
Oh my God, when I was working the Ruby pipeline, you'd go and basically they have a custom designed office. It's not like, they went and ran office space. This was like built for
archaeology.
Yeah, so at the top you've got like office administration, and then in the base levels you've got like an office / lab area, so you can literally drive up with like all your field samples, drop them off, and get new gear and stuff. And it's just like super crazy efficient.
Nice.
Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it before or since.
By the way, welcome to Eliza Gale. She's a friend on Facebook, and she says she's commenting on our matching T-shirts. Although Richie's logo for some reason takes up way more space on his chest than mine does. I think I'm just like 3 times the size. I need to have bigger logos on the bigger shirts.
Oh my God! But originally I was thinking about something else to talk about this show. We were talking about it before because
Were you gonna mention pumpkin spice lattes because they're out?
Really? Yeah. I mean, that would mean going someplace else other than the coffee bar.
That's true. Yeah, Starbucks is the only one that comes out with them this early.
But I was having I haven't applied to many civilian jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we were having some email snafus. I'm not going to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But it did make me think, my God, what are some of our craziest hiring stories? Because I remember when I first got to Reno, it wasn't just like passing through on the way to like the eastern Nevada or something. It was like the craziest adventure I'd ever been on to that point in archaeology.
Well, I don't want to gloss over the email thing real quick. Not to get into your details, but something that people should know when they're sending off a job application to like some of these bigger firms like we just mentioned. If you're sending your application off to a hiring manager, for example, when that application comes, when maybe a request for more information or something like that comes back to you, it's more than likely to come from an address that's not in your address book.
Oh, I know.
And if you have settings that are strict in an email program or something like that, it could send it to junk. So just a note to people that if you're sending out a job application, be checking your junk mail and checking all your mail pretty much consistently until you hear from them.
But the thing is that I was, normally I just check my phone, and normally I've just gotten it to be used to it being so good because, in the old days, you really had to check your junk mail regularly.
Yeah.
But these days, I'm like used to 100% accuracy.
Yeah, I know. And you just gotta, when you're trying to get a job, and this is nothing against you. I mean, I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
I've had emails go to junk that I was like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, hey, did you get this like 4 days ago? I was like, no, you idiot, you didn't send me the email. And sure enough, it's sitting right there in the junk mail. And we had Errol Charles join as well. I know him from Facebook as well. So welcome, Errol.
But let's see, getting back to my craziest job, I was basically minding my own business one July. And I was out for a run, and this is in the olden days when I wouldn't carry my phone on my run because I still had a separate GPS watch with a module and my iPod. And so I'd go out for a run, do all that stuff, get back in the afternoon, and there's a message. It's like, hey, you want a job? It's in Reno, call us back. And so, I'm thinking, all right, and I'm not thinking it's like, because normally I'm not thinking it's like time sensitive yet.
Right.
So I call them back eventually because, I take a shower and all that stuff, and then they're like, yeah, we got this job in Reno, it goes for this long, and I'm like, all right, when do you need me? They're like, tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I should point out that I am not prepared. At this point, I had gotten it down to the point where all my gear is in storage in, down the freeway a bit, but this is like an LA freeway mile sort of thing.
Nice.
And so, and my truck is there, so all I have to do is, grab my truck, it's already loaded, and it's not gassed up, but, just gas it up and leave and throw in any extra gear. That's how, efficient I was.
Wow.
Because, I had a storage unit big enough to hold a vehicle and all my equipment.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they call me, and it's 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And so I have to go through the teeth of LA rush hour traffic to my storage unit, get my truck, and then drive straight up.
Yeah.
And so I do that. I get here in Reno at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know where the hell this office is because I'm so delirious from non-sleep. Because I get here at 5 o'clock in the morning. I find I just pull off right by the freeway, right by the airport runway.
Yeah.
And then show up and then take a nap. 2 hours later, filling out paperwork, and then we're out in the field. We're heading to the Pancakes, which is I forget, how long is it to drive from Reno to the Pancakes?
It's up by Eureka. It's a good 3-4 hours, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we had we had to work, and then we had to set up camp. So I literally worked almost 48 hours, something like that straight.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Have you ever started a job like that?
Kind of. I've never been. Well, yeah, kind of. I guess my closest was a friend of mine and I. Well, she's actually my, I guess, kind of a girlfriend for a little while. How archaeology works.
True.
We were. Earl says hi.
Hello there.
But we were driving from Florida back to Seattle.
Yeah.
Because we were both from the Seattle area, so we were just without anywhere to go. We didn't have any jobs yet, but when we were leaving Florida, we like everybody does, we'd applied for a bunch of different things, but really hadn't heard back from anything in the few days before we left. And we kind of left that job without much preparation because it was it ended for a bunch of us somewhat suddenly, and there was nothing. I mean, there's nothing they could do about it. It was just that's how it worked out. Sometimes jobs just work out that way.
Yeah.
You don't know when they're going to end, and they just all of a sudden they're done. So.
Yeah.
But so we're driving, and I don't even remember where we were. We were somewhere in the upper Midwest. I think I want to even say Montana because I think we stopped through there to see her grandmother because her family was originally from there.
Yeah.
And we get this call for a job in Colorado that starts in 3 days. Yeah. So we basically just canceled our plans to go to Seattle, turn around, and headed to Colorado. Yeah. And had to turn right in the middle of the country and head south to Colorado and figure that out. So that's probably the closest I've come to it. Most of the time, there's been at least a little bit of warning on when we're going to start. At least a few days. But again, I've heard people complain about this too. But sometimes it's due to inefficiency.
Yeah.
Sometimes the project manager is managing 3 or 4 projects or more, and they really do just can't get their crap together to get things done. But then that being said, sometimes your notice to proceed, you're waiting on a permit from an agency, you're waiting for a client to give you the go ahead, and then when these things happen, they want you in the field now.
Yeah.
So you have to line all these people up. And it's just part of the business. You have to line all these people up, and then quite frankly too, it's actually being a good business manager if you
Yeah.
need 10 people, but you call 15 people and say, hey, we've got the job starting here, blah, blah, blah. And then when it comes down to it, bam, we've got the notice to proceed. You start going down your list,
Yeah.
and some of them are not going to get called. But you had to have, if you want to stay in business, you had to have a few other people on that list
Yeah.
as alternates. And people have to realize that they're alternates. Now, I think one way to get off the alternate list probably is to beef up your CV.
Yeah.
Be hireable.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's no exact science to this, and I'm just speaking as an employer and as somebody who's gone through it.
Or be friendly and just know people on a first name basis.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything you can do to make yourself more desirable as a person, whether that's through skills or social or something like that, is going to help in this business.
And flexibility, because how many field techs don't get potential field techs are I don't want to work here, I don't want to work there, I just want to work here, and not just here, but in this town, and be able to go home to my boyfriend or girlfriend at night.
Right.
And it's you're never gonna get started in this job. You have to make some sacrifices in the beginning at least.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe down the road you might find out this job isn't for you, but you're never gonna find that out if you never even make enough compromises to at least start.
Right, totally. So, anyway, we did the last break a little late. Let's do this one a little early. I'll just push the membership site one more time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to do that because I talk about that a lot. What I am going to talk about real fast, because I've been saying this on the last few episodes of the Arc 365 podcast, and if you don't know what that is, arcpodnet.com/ARCH365. It's a podcast a day, every day for 2017. And personally, I'd love to see this continue through 2018 and beyond.
Ooh.
We've got so many topics, so many things. I'm doing really short episodes, partly because of time and effort involved. I mean, I'm doing 3-minute episode on, something in Azerbaijan. I just recorded one today. Just things that I found online. And there's lots of stuff out there like that. But to keep this going through 2018, I'm not going to do it. I need a team of volunteers, hopefully 3 to 5 people, that are willing to research and do this really quick writing. I mean, honestly, say what you will, but I start from a Wikipedia page, and I look at the references. I go to the material quoted in that page, and then I might go another level deep from that. But really, we're just trying to graze the surface on some of this stuff, and bring a little bit of archaeological and historical knowledge to people. So it doesn't need to be a research paper. It doesn't need to be anything like that. It's probably 500 to 1,000 words maximum. Really short. So if you're interested in helping out with that, email me, chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com. Tag me in some socials at arcpodnet or at archaeowebby, ARCHEOWEBBY. Some of that stuff will be up at the end, and it's scrolling across the bottom, actually.
Yay! And did you also want to announce your new co-host for Archaeotech? I just saw that today on my feed.
Oh, yeah. So if you listen to the Archaeotech podcast, it's all about technology and archaeology and where they intersect. Paul Zimmerman is a new host. He's a PhD in archaeology. He's actually not actually worked in archaeology for the last 17 years. He's been an IT guy at a private school in New York City. However, he keeps himself really involved. He's on the board of the local AIA chapter.
Really?
He's he writes their newsletter and stuff. The school that he works at, they have a pretty heavy archaeology component for some of their younger kids, and he always comes in and talks about some of the stuff associated with what he did in the where was he, I don't know, he was up in the Eastern Europe or something like that, or I don't know, he's gonna kill you for saying that. Anyway, he was over there somewhere. He wasn't over here. And anyway, so that's really great to have him on. So check out the Archaeotech podcast, and then also I'll bring up, and this will segue back into just the show. Because a new show, we had Brian Woods on. I almost said Brian Williams, but he's NBC. We had Brian Woods on, and he's I don't know if he's still watching, but he was on this show last week. And we're setting up what I'm calling Archaeology Live, which is basically a live show. I've got a few people on task to be a guest. None of them have given me a positive response yet, so I won't announce that just yet. Maybe next week. Oh, we need to talk about next week. But it's going to be here at the Reno Collective on September 22nd. So if you happen to be in the Reno area or passing through, We're probably going to charge for tickets, but it's probably going to be about $5, unless we can line something else up and maybe get a sponsor or something. But so it's going to be right here. We can support about 25 to 30 people, depending on how we set up the room.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. But it's going to be me, Brian, basically interviewing and conversing with our guest about something in archaeology related to the Great Basin.
Yeah.
So, and I'm hoping to take that model and take it to other cities. At the very least, have some of my co-hosts or something that are on the or other hosts that live in other cities on the APN take this and do this elsewhere. Like once we figure out what all the component parts are, and then I'd like to do it when I go to Washington D.C. For the AAAs at the end of November, and then definitely for the SAAs over my birthday actually in April, which are at the same damn hotel in the same city as the AAAs. So
that's so because I thought you were talking about the AAAs originally, or the SAAs originally.
Yeah, well, they're in the same hotel in Washington D.C.
Interesting.
And Robert Stolting just joined, which is really cool. He actually lives here in Nevada, so he actually commented on one of our earlier shows and said, "I love listening to you guys because you talk about all the places I know." So, and if you are in Reno and you're in Reno at 3 p.m. on a Friday, let us know and come in and record with us.
Because now we have this giant room.
We have this giant room. We'll sit here. We'll set up a chair right next to us on the couch here.
And I can actually feel the air conditioning in this room.
I know it can feel like you're on like Fox and Friends, but with intelligence.
What?
How about that?
Oh, and less short skirts, I assume.
I don't know about that. I don't know what I'm going to wear every week, but so anyway, that's what's going on with that, and I'm hoping to bring this together. But I mentioned next week's show, which I haven't talked to Richie about. So the Reno Air Races is here. We're setting up for it on Sunday. I'm part of the Civil Air Patrol. We have a massive food booth at the Reno Air Races in the pits area, and we sell $17,000 to $19,000 worth of burritos and breakfast burritos and hamburgers. So it's really intensive for me, and I'll be there from about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning until about 6 p.m. every day from Wednesday to Sunday next week. So that's during our recording time. Yeah. So we're either going to have to just skip a week.
Ooh.
Or
use a phone.
Oh, I might be able to get, if Richie's off that day, I might be able to get you just into the air races and we can record from there on my phone.
Oh, wait. So, I'm usually off on Saturdays.
Yeah, well, Friday we
Friday too.
Yeah, so we might be broadcasting from the Reno Air Races next week, although the problem and challenge there is there's no Wi-Fi, which I'm fine using data on my phone, but there's 50,000 people that come to this thing, and they're all pinging the same towers. So data is sometimes a challenge. So we might try it. Tune in if you want to.
Yeah.
But it may or may not work.
Yeah.
So
oh my God, that makes me think of a channel I follow. Believe it or not, there is a dude who is a lawyer, an actual lawyer. He just comments on cases that relate to like video game stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's crazy. And he was doing a live feed, although he was doing it on he was doing it on that nurse, the one that's all over the Facebooks. The Utah nurse who wouldn't draw the blood.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like amazing to me because you were talking not to jump all over the place, but during that meeting we had the other day, I was thinking, man, there's so many other issues you could talk about, like so many possible podcast possibilities.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will say we've got a handful of people jumping in and out of this. If you see this, if you wouldn't mind giving us a share, to your own page, that way other people can get exposed to archaeology and whatever we're going to talk about and expose them to. I don't want to expose myself to too many people, but whatever. Anyway, so what's going on this week?
Oh God. I have to admit, every time someone comes into the bookstore, we may have talked about this before, but every time someone comes into the bookstore, 9 out of 10 people who wear a watch are wearing a smartwatch.
Yeah.
And 7 out of 10 of those people are wearing an Apple Watch, and the rest are wearing a mixture. Sometimes they're like Garmin sells a line of like super convenient watches that can either be a smartwatch that's connected to your phone, or it can just be a standalone GPS/heart rate monitor. Mm-hmm. And yet, I think it's super interesting. The only reason I mention this is because I'm in the market, so that's the reason I keep talking to people about their watches and how they like them. And more importantly, because I keep like wanting to point out, like I remember when the Apple Watch first came out, and there was all the Apple hate.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
were like, smartwatches are failures, and they're super expensive, and no one's
Right.
gonna know what to do with them. And it's just like, weren't they also saying the same thing about smartphones and apps, and on and on?
Yeah, yeah. The smartwatches are the way it's going now these days. I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to buy a dumb watch before too long.
Yeah.
Just like you can't buy. I mean, you can buy a flip phone still, but they're really hard to find.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did
Yeah.
Nokia just introduce that phone again?
Probably still has like smart features though. Quite frankly.
You say
So, I know. What I've noticed, just anecdotally, without having
Yeah.
the kind of sample set that you do with people coming in the bookstore,
Yeah.
is that you're right. A lot of people have smartwatches, but they're either the Apple Watch, which is the most popular probably,
Yeah.
or one of the Fitbit variants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that they all look alike. So I asked them exactly, specifically what brand, and so
Yeah.
the Fitbit looks cool. But then I was thinking, Garmin's line looks cool, better to me.
Well, and I would probably go with something like that. Like if you're going to get a smartwatch,
Yeah.
like I mean, Fitbit has one coming out, like the Iconic or the Ion, or I think it starts with an I.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like $300.
Yeah.
I can get an Apple Watch for $250.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't I get something that is fully featured, does all these things? Now, some of those high-end Fitbit ones, they do
Yeah.
all that other stuff. Now, I guess if one of the big factors in this, of course, is if you're on an Android phone.
Yeah.
You, from what I understand, I'm going to take that statement back. You actually need an iPhone if you're going to have an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So if you're on Android, you actually can't use an Apple Watch. But you have to decide: are you going to get the Garmin? You're going to get one of the Samsungs, which are pretty nice, or Fitbit. So
Well, the thing about the Garmin I was looking at is the fact that it's only $60, and I'm like, that is crazy. I can.
well, they have a whole range though. They
Yeah.
get really way more expensive than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one I was looking at, amazingly enough, was remanufactured. So it's like, well, whatever, $60, and it gives me all my text notifications, and I can pretend like I'm not I can pretend I'm not on my phone.
Well, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice for archaeology and for work to have something like that, because I think it's important to monitor, especially some of the ones that are fitness trackers as well.
Yeah.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
There's probably some knockoff cheaper ones out there that actually don't do fitness tracking. I don't know what they do, but it's nice to have. Hopefully, we're still recording because it says broadcast interrupted over here.
Really? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Apparently, the internet is on.
Yeah. Well, we're back up.
Oh, good.
So anyway, if you lost us for a second on the live stream, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would say for archaeology, it's really nice to have, because I got my first Apple Watch when I was doing the big survey, and I could just leave my phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
I could get UTM coordinates on my watch. I can
Yeah.
get my notifications. I didn't need to pull it out. Really handy for you guys, you sorry bastards in the Southeast that are always putting your phone in like a Ziploc baggie because of humidity and just moisture and things like that. Well, I've seen people do that, but then they keep it in like their pocket, or they keep it in their vest pocket or something like that.
And then it gets moist inside.
It gets moist, but then then they're tempted to pull it out too, and then they drop it in a puddle or they drop it in the sand or whatever. Now you can just leave it in your backpack because your watch is actually designed for that environment, and you can have your watch out. And if you do get a call or a notification or something that you absolutely have to respond to, you can do a lot of that response on the device. Not 100% of it. Some of the complicated stuff you are going to need to pull your phone out. But if you don't have one of these, you're going to have to pull it out every time because you don't know.
And I know at least one crew chief / company owner here in town who, if he even sees you pull it out during your lunch or your break, suddenly he hates you, and he wants you to disappear from his crew forever.
Well, that's fine. But if you pull it out at lunch, typically you're not paid for lunch, so they can go.
Yeah, but then we all know people in this business are kind of eccentric in their own way.
GFY is all I'll say to that. Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's some people are pretty crazy. And they give this business a bad name, when they're so rigid about it.
See?
People want this business to be like every other job.
Yeah.
They want it to be 9 to 5. They want it to be Monday through Friday. They want to have work all week long, all year long.
Yeah.
And have consistent pay and all this stuff. And yet, when we get on a job, people don't treat it that way.
Exactly.
They treat it like a vacation.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and complain to me that you're not treated like a regular employee when you treat your existence in the hotel room like you're on some sort of, spring break trip.
Exactly. Oh my God! Like, I'm not gonna mention who, but I once remember a mutual friend of ours. He had to clear out of the hotel that morning because it was the end of our session.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of our 8-day, wait, no, we were on 10 floors. So over the course of his 10-day, he had built a wall of beer cans.
Oh my God.
Like a whole wall.
Jeez. That's insane. Yeah.
And, so it's like you can't treat it like that and then be that dude who's like smoking as like you're surveying or recording
Right.
and stuff
Right.
like that, and then expect this to be a 9-to-5 job, because what other 9-to-5 job can you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I this is why I think we'll just bookend this conversation with unions, because that's why I think we need to take our lessons from other unions, but then craft it so that it fits ourselves.
Yeah.
We keep trying to put ourselves into this box, like I just said, that fits this certain ideal that we have of the American dream and what a job is supposed to be like. And yet we completely ignore sometimes the freedoms that we have with this job. I mean, I'm willing to put up with a little bit of unemployment. I'm willing to put up with a little bit of insecurity if it means when this job is over, if I've done my, if I've been a good boy and I saved a bunch of money, when this job is over, I can take 3-4 weeks off and not do a damn thing if I want.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do that with another job. I've got to put in for vacation.
Yeah.
Let me break this to you. If you're unionized and you are, not even union, if you're salaried with a company, if you have a salaried position and you want to take time off after that next project, here's some newsflash for you. You're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
If you go get any other job, like Richie, you're looking for another job here in town, which you're, and this is what we do in archaeology. You're sacrificing, basically your ability to take whatever free time you want.
True.
But you're sacrificing it for security and regularity and all these other things.
And
so you got to decide what's good for you.
Well, thing is
Benefits.
also, that too, and health benefits, and more importantly, so I can keep my YouTube channel going, because that's the thing. When I was a field tech, I had all the time, but I didn't have all the spare money to invest in oh my God, storage.
Yeah.
And storage. It's the main thing for me. It's and computers and all that stuff. And improved certification, because I felt like at some point it was just gonna be a pipe dream for me to ever go back to get my master's or improve my education without going to $1 bazillion in debt. Because I went through my undergrad without getting a single student loan, and I want to keep that going.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm willing to give up a little flexibility now for increased pay and more flexibility down the road.
Well, I think like any job, like any lifestyle, you have to figure out within the confines of what you do and what you want to do.
Yeah.
What does a, to quote Psycho Girl in Vanilla Sky, what does happiness mean to you? That's what she said before she ran them into off a bridge. But anyway, what does it mean? Does it mean you want 3 kids and a house and all this stuff? Then you've got to figure out a lifestyle that gets you that. You can't complain about the lifestyle you're in if it's not going to provide that for you.
And never will.
And never will. Yeah. I mean, you can't be a pole dancer and say I want to work 8 to 5.
Yeah.
The pole dancer is going to work 9 to 3 at night.
And yet, how many of those pole dancers are working towards something else?
Yeah, like floor dancing.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of them are just in school and stuff.
But that's my point. Yeah. You could be doing this job to work yourself towards something else.
Yeah.
Maybe that something else is a higher level agency position or something in archaeology.
Yeah.
Maybe it's maybe it's something else entirely. Who knows? Maybe this is a stopgap before you can, go out and become an adult and get a real job. Who knows? But we just need to stop complaining about this job, and I don't mean stop
pointing out real deficiencies.
Yes, don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
But understand the limitations of this job. Understand what it has to offer.
Yeah.
And then instead of complaining about things that we know we can change, come up with solutions.
Exactly.
And try to implement them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm all about. I realize that there's tons of problems with this job, and when I had the ability to hire people, every time I've done that, I try to figure out, well, what are the things I would not like as an employee? What are the things I've been treated as an employee, and how can I not do that?
Yeah.
And if I can't help it, if I have to do these things that I hated, I'm going to be upfront with everybody and say, listen, I don't want to do this, but there's honestly no other way to do it unless you guys have a better idea.
True.
So I feel like when I've run crews, when I've employed people on larger projects, that I've personally tried to be as fair as possible, and if I wasn't, I would hope they had the, they knew that they could come to me and say that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's the whole point of my YouTube channel and the ArchPodNet and everything is to show people what this job is really like, and not the fake sort of view.
Yeah. Yeah, Richie's got some really great videos over at Happy Archaeology Fun Time.
Yeah.
That are packed with information, and not just the ones I'm on. So
True.
Although those are the best. No, I'm just kidding.
And as soon as I get more storage space, I will definitely start uploading them, because I've actually got like bunches of raw footage I can't edit.
Right. No, Brian mentions here all of them are working their way through the school of addiction, which take that as you will.
True.
All right. Well, we can start wrapping this up.
Yeah. Although one quick thing, there is a customer who comes in, and she works at one of the local gentlemen's clubs.
Oh yeah.
And she's always buying books.
Yeah.
Always. Not just for her kid, but also for herself, and not like stupid books. They're like interesting books. I decided to point that out.
I mean, pole dancing for books. I think that should be a charity.
It could be.
It could be.
Oh wait.
So we're gonna throw up the last screen here, so you can see all our socials and subscribe wherever you see this. I'm still working my way through the audio for this, so for people that want to listen to it. And the weird thing for me too is we talk in present terms on this Facebook Live broadcast, but my audio might not be up for months. So I apologize for that.
True.
If you're listening to the audio later and you didn't even know we were on Facebook Live.
And for people who are watching on Facebook Live, I want to congratulate you on the fact that for the first time ever, there was like 0 dropped frames for like 30 seconds.
Nice. Nice.
I assume it's because people were like leaving, or there's no one here.
It should be the case on a Friday, although as we're wrapping this up, the member happy hour is starting at 4 p.m. here at the Reno Collective.
Oh, that's probably why we got some interruptions.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. Again, like and subscribe if you're listening to the audio with us. Thank you. Go leave a review over on iTunes so other people can see what you think about the show, but only do it if you're going to leave a 5-star review. If you're going to leave a 1-star review, do that over on somebody else's podcast.
Oh, wait, Mark Maron's podcast. No, we shouldn't slander people.
Nah, he makes enough money. You can give him 25 1-star reviews and it won't change anything. So, interviewed the president, for Christ's sake. So
wait, the last one or the current one?
The last one. I don't think he would interview the current one. So
that'd be funny, though.
That would be funny. Anyway, anytime you see this live, if you could give it a share, give it a like, and please bring in your comments. We've had both shows that were just heavy in comments that we talked about the whole time, and we've had shows that were people just watching, which is fine too. We have plenty to talk about, but we'd really like to address your comments and your questions.
True. And
see if we can't really screw up your lives with our answers.
And more importantly, build a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So. And if you're in Reno, come September 22nd. Keep an eye out for it. I'll be promoting it probably all next week, as if I get a guest. If I don't get a guest, it might just be Brian and I. We'll just get up there and talk about stuff. I'll bring you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what day the 22nd is.
It's a Friday.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, you'll be here regardless. Probably watching it.
Yeah.
So, the whole point was to have an archaeologist, somebody who can bring some levity to the situation, but is also like not an archaeologist, so they can ask those types of questions, and then to have somebody on that's a specialist in something. So, so hopefully that's what we're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
We want to keep it light. This isn't a paper. I had somebody back out because they're like, "Oh, I don't have time." I was like, "Listen, it's like an hour on a Friday. Like, what are you doing?" So.
Plus, we don't even like going to watch papers. So why would you want to start a podcast like that sounds like a research paper?
I know. So, so we're gonna end this now. But if you wanted to join us next week, like I said, we'll work to it. But my sense of the matter is we might just not have a show because I just don't know when we would even record a backup show for this, unless it was the following week, and then we might just wait till Friday. So I'm going to be busy the whole time. My parents are going to be here the Monday and Tuesday after the air races, so it's just a complicated time. But again, if I can get Richie in, it's a busy day for me on Friday. Friday and Saturday are our busiest days at the air races. So. But if I can get him in and we can do that, then we'll try it. Yeah. So if we can't, we can't. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Otherwise.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right.
All right. See you guys later.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for commenting and give us a share.
Yeah.
And hi, Chuck.
Oh,
it
darn
ended.
it. Darn.
I just saw him right at the last second.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. I thought that was like a good point, though.